Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. It turns out in the draft, or in the bracket here, we see that NewbFail'Em has actually won against Moist Encounters. I believe this week Moist Encounters also got knocked out. I think last week I think they got knocked out in the first or second round, I believe, and we see NewbFail'Em moving on. I believe they made it out of the first round last week as well. I don't remember the type of composition they ran. I don't think it was too crazy. Pretty standard, Toronto-based, CC-based style composition, so I don't think we're going to see any craziness happen this game, sadly. But are you still sticking with eLevate? Is that your go-to?
I'm still there. I'm still there.
You're not giving up on them yet?
No.
No?
I'm in it to win it, man. eLevate.
I think they have a track record to really not have your faith waver, really. They very much are a group of players that are very, very skilled. I actually got a little bit of info on the situation on the Thrall first pick from the last game. And it came down to just from some of their experiences with their training that they had seen that a lot of teams were actually trying to essentially kind of deny that pick from them in some way, shape, or form. And so they felt as if though concentrating it was valuable, especially within this tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of that when it came to drafting decisions from them later into this tournament. The draft actually now has just begun, so we're going to hop right over to it.
Do you have a link?
I do have a link. I can hook you up with it. Give me, please. Instantly eLevate, same pattern. First pick, going to ban out the Rainer right out the gates. The map is going to be Cursed Hollow here. Give me 1 second to give you the link.
It's okay. I'm patient. Thank you.
All right, NewbFail'Em is going to end up banning the Rainer here. Same as last game, I think we can expect a Toronto ban coming out. I don't think they're going to end up risking that. There it is. So let's see. Thrall first pick again.
If that's a big comfort pick, it didn't show up for me.
It's not locking in for me either.
If that's a big comfort pick for them, that could be. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I mean, I understand it. It's important for their team makeup for that player, but that could get dangerous if they're going to do that every time. Other teams are going to prepare against that.
Yeah, definitely being predictable in draft can be a big, especially if they don't adjust it according to the maps too. What I would definitely like to see NewbFail'Em do, so the same problems don't happen in the first game. I would 100% like to see a Zagara pick up here on their half. I think that would be really great. They do end up locking in the Murden, and I think it's going to be a Zagara Kael'thas. I think they'll go with Kael'thas, but I would like to see the Zagara. They were probably playing during the last draft as well, so they haven't gotten to see this pattern that eLevate has so far put out in their draft. But yeah, I like Zagara a lot on Cursed Hollow. Personally, yeah. I think she applies so much threat to one lane along with the rotations and sight she can provide for bosses, which are essentially the only way to end the game on this map. I very much like her as a pick, but we do see the Kael'thas coming in as expected. It's going to be repeated, 100%. Yep. Zagara Sylvanas, there is no reason to fix what isn't broken here for eLevate's half. But bans, I definitely don't think this will be a Diablo. I hope it isn't a Diablo ban here. I very much think we can expect ECC to be banned on their half. I don't see many other things to be banned. Whenever you lock in a very great tank in a draft here, like we've seen from NewbFail'Em, they have one of the top 3 solo tanks in the game. It almost always comes out with a ban otherwise, but it seems like they're going to ban the Kharazim. Not a poor decision. Kharazim synergizes extremely well with Thrall and Zagara. What do you think? eLevate's ban?
Tassadar again. They don't want anyone to have the vision. Tassadar works pretty well on this map, and maybe they're protecting Zagara's creep spread. I thought about that.
I think it's actually more of a response to Thrall's hyper-engage mixed with Tassadar keeping the squishy like Kael'thas alive. But then also, if you get a beautiful force wall during the time that Sunder and Maw are becoming into effect in their team fights, they essentially force wall will negate their engage. I'm going to press Sunder and we're going to start the team fight right now. He can negate that, and he's essentially kind of a soft counter to the Thrall, and I think that's what they're trying to avoid. We see Uther being picked up here by NewbFail'Em. I hope it's not a Kerrigan pick here, but that might be the case. I would definitely, if it is a melee assassin, please let it be Sonya. I don't know if I think that's the best decision in the world, but if they are going to go with the melee assassin here, usually which is paired with Uther, I don't think I would like the Kerrigan as much. Granted, rotations aren't as important this game as they were last game. Curse Hollow.
Right.
Rotations don't matter as much. So
Yeah, completely different map.
yeah.
The one of the smallest maps to one of the largest maps couldn't be any more different. Incredible though how similar the drafts are on such different maps.
Yeah, I think that this map complements NewbFail'Em. Let's say they mirrored the draft, it would help them so much more. Rotations are far less important, and ganking would be definitely more prominent with the Kerrigan style. But like I said, I don't think that's what we'll see here in
They're
this
really
draft.
chipping into the time pool.
Yeah, no, they're running a little low on it, and that might hurt them if they're questioning their final pick for their composition. What about for eLevate? You think it'll be mirrored? I like the Falstad pick.
Yeah.
I do like that a lot. Do you think we'll see a Johanna here as well? I personally feel like we will. Yeah, that's because of the Falstad pick. Also, I think that's just kind of their comp right now. Final lockout, what do you think is going to be?
Well, they got Johanna, which makes sense since Muradin has already been taken.
Rhaegar?
For, what other support is really left available to them at this point? It's either Rhaegar or what? Malfurion?
You got Medic as well. Malfurion gets soft countered by Falstad. I don't think there's any reason that they'll take Malfurion here. He does synergize well with Zagara, but I think you'll see them they'll avoid the Malfurion. Medic is a option here, but I don't see it being the go-to. I definitely think that Rhaegar, out of all the healers, the exact same comp from last game, is probably their best go-to. I don't think I can think of any healer that I think is better than Rhaegar in this type of situation. You always want to try and have a large burst heal whenever you have a melee assassin, and Rhaegar's very great at that, especially in the later half of the game. What about for NewbFail'Em? What do you think they're going to round out the rest of this composition with?
I would say it would have to be Sonya. I would be a little nervous about pulling Kerrigan into that team. Maybe I'm just thinking too much about last game. I mean, this is a completely different team, so I don't want to think too much about the last game. I would go with Sonya, but they might surprise us and not take a melee assassin at all. What if they took a different... All right, there's Rhaegar, like we thought.
I think we will... I would not like to see them take Sonya. I think that kind of makes their comp a little bit counterproductive. They're trying to sitting this weird barrier between poke and disengage-ish, with Sonya being a very much I'm in there. I actually think you might either see a double tank here or another ranged, which I don't know if I totally agree with. But
yeah, what about Leoric?
I think a double tank wouldn't be the end of the world. It's not complemented that well on the map. Leoric doesn't have a problem with this map necessarily, but usually a double tank does do really well in those smaller maps with Leoric. His rotation advantage that he can gain is really great. I love this pick. I actually really like the Tyrael decision making. That really sticks true to their, we're going to stay back, we're going to poke you out, and we're going to survive Tyrael with the AoE shields and the sanctification. They have absolute great response to this good, deep, hard engaging style composition from eLevate. So I like the response a lot. That second tank I think was probably going to be the game changer. If they were to pull off a game, I would say it was because Tyrael pick in that draft was really, really smart here. Purely taking up draft, who do you think is going to end up winning this game?
I'm really interested right now in NewbFail'Em's team. I'm just trying to imagine some of these Tyrael jumps, trying to get back there into the back line on Sylvanas. And I'm interested to see what that does. I'm not ready to pick a winner right now.
I'm going to say, if I'm going sheerly off comp and both teams are 50-50, I think NewbFail'Em has the better draft. But oh gosh, actually it's really close. It's actually surprisingly close.
I know.
The reason I like NewbFail'Em's draft a little bit more is boss control. I think they have the better boss control when it comes down to Kael'thas, or not Kael'thas, but Falstad's Mighty Gust, and we also have Tyrael with his Holy Ground at 16. I think they have a lot of manipulation of the bosses. There is a Maw and a Sunder. Sunder isn't nearly as effective. Maw is a great zoning tool, but with all the things that NewbFail'Em has, and with this map being Cursed Hollow, I think I'm slightly leaning in their favor.
Yeah, how well the Falstad player uses those Mighty Gusts is really going to affect this game, because Mighty Gust can be amazing or it can, be terrible for his team.
I mean, the last week's tournament, we saw that as a very strong pattern, honestly. We saw a lot of Gus being used to essentially disengage from an already lost team fight, zero value in a direct team fight. It just might as well have taken Hinterland's Blast in a lot of type of situations, so I agree with you very much. The Falstad, I think almost had nearly a 0% win rate last week, actually, because, in my opinion, because the Gus were so unimpactful.
Yeah.
Like, just so, like... It hurt sometimes to watch, and I articulated that a little bit too well in my cast with some of my moans and groans as some of them came out, which I'm trying to work on here. But we're slowly getting into this game. I'm actually impressed to see. I don't think I've ever seen a team mirror a comp 2 games in a row directly, regardless of the map, like eLevate has done here. So I'm glad to see how this plays out. But we're moving to game 1. I guess it's going to be a best one here anyways, between eLevate and NewbFail'Em.
Yeah, while I said the Mighty Gus are probably going to be a big part of how well or poorly NewbFail'Em does, I'm most interested to see the Tyrael plays, because Tyrael, he has such a good engage in more ways than one. What heroic he takes, if he takes Judgment or Sanctification, is going to be a big part of it, but using Aldruin to see how he engages onto the back line of eLevate, I want to see how that plays out for his team.
I can almost tell you 100% that they will be taking Sanctification this game, which I might cover a little bit later here. But here we go, eLevate on the blue. We're in the blue trunks here. We have Nesper on the Thrall once again. I guess everybody's once again. Basic sitting on the Sylvanas. Boss Floss going on the Johanna. Hawkfu is going to be on the Zagara, and we have June on the Rhaegar.
All right, over on the right on Falstad, we have Droplets. Ekunami on Kael'thas. Azen on Muradin. 3 the Third on Tyrael, and Frumgar on Uther.
So it looks like we have the rotation going a 4-1 for both teams into the upper lane. Zagara is going to be trying to establish dominance on our territory by laying creep here in the early game. And I think both teams might be going for an early game turret cheese here, hoping the opponents respond to a different lane. We'll find out here. Okay, T getting a little bit out of position there, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I do think they were 100%. That was a beautiful response coming from NewbFail'Em. They expected the cheese from the Zagara Sylvanas, laying down that crippling poison sitting on the turrets, disabling them, and getting a free XP lead advantage. So I really like that response coming out from them, essentially negating the fact that they could have just lost a whole front wall for free. Bottom lane has got Nesper and versus the Tyrael. Both are pretty decent in the 1v1. I believe Thrall is going to win this with a period of time. The top lane's got to have 2 decent tri-lanes. Both are pretty effective. Sylvanas and Hawkfu on the Zagara are going to have a lot more sieging pressure, whereas the other side is on NewbFail'Em. They're going to have a lot more kill potential here, but it looks like a small engagement going on the mid lane. No, they're just going to keep wave clearing. Knight takes pawn being dominant in the lane. Boss Floss will slowly over time be able to outpush this Muradin. Honestly, it's a pretty big stalemate here so far.
Yeah, I was interested that Boss Floss actually cleared the lane and then went right back up for top to see if they needed him, and then he's doing it again right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So he's gonna keep himself mobile here on Johanna. Both tanks actually keeping themselves mobile for whatever top lane needs. The most action is going to happen here in the top.
Yeah, and you see him making those half rotations, knowing that he doesn't have the wave clear to keep up with Johanna and trying to match her as she counter ganks. Really great decision there coming out from Azen there. But again, he's going to lose the wave clear slowly but surely. Try and make the rotations, but I don't know if he's going to be doing it. We see a pullback here from Basics and June. They're going to take the Giants before the Tribute spawning in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. This is not going to be able to be mirrored because on the upper half, NewbFail'Em actually has 3 people in the top lane, essentially making them not able to take their Giants unless they send Falstad to fly, which would be very risky. When a Tribute's about to spawn, you always want the Falstad to have his fly up so he can soak as much as possible. So, smart play here coming out from eLevate. Can't be punished too much. They have sight. They know that the rotation is going to be happening here. I like what they're doing here, but I'm surprised bottom isn't going a little bit. I guess Tyrael's a better laner than I'm giving him credit for. I felt like Nesper was going to be winning this a little bit harder, but I guess I was wrong. It does the rotation on mid here coming out from eLevate, but nothing's going to happen because Muradin is exactly that Muradin.
Just Muradin. Looks like we have some people coming down to mid though. Basics and June coming down to grab some towers in the middle, get a little XP boost for eLevate right before the Tribute spawns, and it's spawning in the top. So everybody's already here.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they pushed to get a turret there, but I'm interested in the logic why they let their Giants die for free there. They didn't know the tribute was going to spawn top, so it didn't punish them there, but if it's a tribute spawn bottom, letting your Giants die for free there is really going to hurt. Droplet's getting absolutely bodied by that pull here. Blink coming from Murden. Basic's going to just walk away. Not the end of the world here. Thrall is a little bit low in rotation, and so is Tyrael here. The better poke overall is definitely going to come out from Haku here. Almost going to be able to get a kill for the delay on the tributes. eLevate's going to be able to pick up this first tribute, and honestly, I'm not surprised. I feel like they had superior rotations as a team. They moved swiftly and as a group, and that's going to pay off for them here. Finishing off the turrets on mid. Nothing too crazy here. I would be really interested to see what the Merc rotations are going to be from this point on in the rest of the game. I want to see what eLevate's going to be doing, if they're going to be looking to get their Knights here, which I think that is what Sylvanas is going to do right now exactly. Again, NewbFail'Em, no response on the Mercs, at least yet. Granted, they do have about a 30-second time period where it looks like there it is. They're going to rotate to Giants and take it. I like that decision. Knights are usually not that valuable, considering the fact that NewbFail'Em also is missing a front wall in their mid forward. Keep that in mind.
I'm surprised that, well, Haku has played pretty defensively the last time we saw him play Zagara last game, but it seemed like they could have pushed a little harder to get these towers in the top as well. I mean, they're almost dead as it is, almost out of ammo as it is. But there's the tribute.
Yeah, no, I think they actually pulled away from that just so they get the front mid front wall rather than the top front wall, realizing it was a 3-on-3 and there was risky kill potential. I think they took the safe route by just saying, hey, we'll out-rotate you, but Zagara almost getting hit by the gravity lapse. Uther stun is going to get on him, but he's going to be able to walk away here. Rhaegar will be able to heal him up slowly but surely, but that poke might be enough to win him this curse here. Remember, Murden is actually making a slow rotation. The poke's already come out from the W on Sylvanas here. I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with this. Uther burns his heal. That's a 12-second cooldown. Oh my goodness, great Q there coming out from Ekonami on the Kel'Thas. Slowly but surely, they're getting lowered in health here from NewbFail'Em. They are a little bit down in XP. I'm going to be surprised if they actually win this curse. It looks like Thrall is actually backing out and trying to kind of give it up. He is just going to tap, so there we go. The poke over the wall basically is just going to pick him off, and Tyr is going to get stunned. That's going to be the kill there. That's 2 kills down. That's 100% going to be a curse here. Sitting in favor. Not 100% because I need to stop saying that. There's definitely going to be a curse in the favor here of eLevate, and I really felt like that came down to the poke that just came out. They received so much poke. Haku got bursted down early, but it wasn't enough to really pull him away from the fight. It only took roughly 1 heal. And then Uther is a really weak healer against spread damage, and Zagara and Sylvanas were applying great spread damage there. Even Thrall wasn't in range to actually get his Q, but he accents that as well. So I was surprised to see that they decided to stick around as long as they did here for NewbFail'Em. eLevate's actually pulling back, looking to get their Giants here again. They are winning the race to 10 by a large amount. This is going to be a curse, Giants, and level 10 all at one time as long as they're able to soak the waves. That is honestly going to be enough to make this game essentially avalanche, if you will, like the last game, if they play this properly at all. They are going to be giving up the tribute here. NewbFail'Em, knowing that they are not 10 and they cannot contest this. I'm interested to see the rotation. The rotations made after this right here, brilliant. This is what we needed. Don't even cap this curse right now. I'd like to see them hold off a little bit longer. Starting this boss, they're going to finish the boss. Okay, they capture the curse now, which they don't necessarily need to do, but this is brilliant. They're going to have a curse and a boss, and they're going to be able to be pushing as fast as they can. Zagara already setting up her creep down here, knowing they're going to make a big play here. I feel like they lost a little bit of curse time, though. This whole time that they have had a curse here, which has been roughly the 15 seconds, they could have just waited, captured the boss. There is no level 10 coming out from NewbFail'Em to contest them, and they could have been now capturing the curse and getting maximum value. But again, still great play knowing they can take that boss.
Yeah, that was definitely time well managed. They're also splitting up a little bit, letting Sylvanas soak in the middle. She's taking down that Knight push that was picked up by NewbFail'Em, so they're not getting any value out of that Knight there. They're already dead.
Yeah, an optimal rotation there, I honestly feel like would have been taking the boss, capturing the curse, and then start pushing the key front wall, even with the fort up, letting the boss take it for free, the fort for free, behind you, and just taking out that front wall. But it's working out for them here. They're going to get a pretty big lead. They're going to try and force this fight here. Honestly, momentum, even though it may not have been absolute min-max, is 100% in their favor. Great mock coming out here. I'd like to see their follow-up. Will it be asunder? The beautiful Gust Judgment actually is going to come out here, though. They're fighting across the boss, though. This is going to be a problem here. we see the T-shield.
They did pick up the Giants as well. I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised they took the time to do that, but
No, I think honestly taking the Giants is really good. It's going to help their momentum in getting this. There is a Sunder Wailing Arrow only on one target, but 3 the third is going to get picked off here. Tyrael oversending a little bit too much there. Passive going to be out, and they're going to get a keep and just walk away from here. I honestly feel like the Giants was a smart decision making. Overall, it got them essentially assured that they were going to get a keep no matter what, but like I said, I just feel like they might have made a little bit of mistiming with their curse overall with how big of a lead that they have, but eLevate is showing why they are a dominant team here in this tournament, why they're expected to be at least #1 or #2 so far.
to talk a little bit about heroics and NewbFail'Em, we had said in the beginning that you thought Tyrael would take Sanctification. It looks like he took Judgment.
He did. I'm actually really surprised with that. I feel like it doesn't synergize with his composition at all. They are looking to get the Gust and try and get an isolation and an engage here. It is 5 versus 4 here in this team fight, but Thrall is here. Guess what? He's got Sunder in 9 seconds, Maw in 2. As long as Maw stays alive, he will. Judgment coming in. The CC is going to be a little bit too late. It's not going to be able to stop him. Maw is actually going to be whipped here. But this team fight's going to definitely go in favor here of eLevate, Sundering for the... but the Tyrael... Oh, beautiful explosion there coming out, but it is going to be a 5-for-0 wipe overall.
Yeah.
I think, when you think objectively of what Falsette's trying to do with Mighty Gust, what is it?
He's either using it to isolate one person, or if they're using it on a capture point, an objective, to move the team to where his team can take the objective easier.
Very much so. And then, but Tyrael is essentially, it's very much, Falsette is always an isolation or a disengaged style. We're going to wait it out a little bit longer. And Tyrael taking Judgment there is very much, we are trying to engage on you as hard as we can. I think they made their comp so much harder by taking Judgment, because now it's forcing them to isolate one person and then Judgment that one person and confirm the kill. But if it's not Rhaegar, they're going to survive. Not a single
Which they did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what happened.
And I'm afraid of that decision making from their composition. There's going to be a tribute here going over in favor to eLevate here. They have the 15 tier advantage, or not 15 tier, but 13 tier advantage here. They're going to be winning the race to 16. They have all the objectives on the map that they are going to be able to take during this town time. Essentially, there is the next best fight that's going to be possible here for NewbFail'Em, sadly, is into a 16 tier talents, which in my opinion is probably the 3rd best talent tier in the entire game. In order, it goes level 10, level 20, and then 16 is the next strongest for each hero. So it's going to be very, very hard for them to make any form of comeback here in this game. Bosses are not going to be spawning for roughly 1 minute in the favor of eLevate's positioning here. They're actually going to look for an invasion on Knights, but they won't be able to get it. They're a little slow on that rotation. Again, I think they should be waiting for the 16 tier. They're kind of making an aggressive rotation of these Giants. That's what it looks like they're going to be taking here, but they are split. Keep in mind, Haku is not with his team.
They're coming around. They're definitely split from this side here. Rhaegar is not with the team. They can come together, though. The Phoenix is splitting them even further now. It doesn't seem to be affecting them poorly, though. They're able to take out Tyrael quite easily. Effective use of the Ancestral. Haku, though, is getting very low.
There's actually a lot of fascinating things that happen during this team fight that I want to cover. First and foremost, fighting in a chokehold versus a Thrall, a Sylvanas, a Johanna, and a Zagara is the worst thing that you can possibly do. That small threshold here, this tribute is going to go in favor and eLevate, but let's think of, like, this small chokehold, they were all in, and we saw massive AoE ults hitting them there to turn the team fight in their favor, but then you, once again, like, they got one kill and it was in favor and it looked like they were winning the team fight, but they only went 1 for 1 here, and that was honestly because of the isolation and positioning from Haku there. I think that was the only reason their team wasn't able to pull a full win from that style of team fight, and I really would have liked that if he had stuck with his team instead of being in this chokehold with his team there. I don't think that would have been a kill and they would have gone 1 for 0 on that. Looks like they're going to take the Giants. They have the 16 tier. It's still very, very scary for NewbFail'Em here to be making any form aggressive play in any way, shape, or form. Boss is going to be up here in favor of eLevate. Let's see, bosses are essentially, boss and this next curse are what are going to dictate the remainder of this game, so I very much see a hard time coming out from NewbFail'Em here to try and make a comeback, but if they're going to make it, it's when they hit 16 tier.
Now Murden getting caught out here, the team again. Very spread out, strung out. The same thing we saw last game, actually. Teams not staying together, being caught out, being spread out. I'm surprised Murden lived there, but he had a good hop in him.
Hakfu slightly starts the boss there. It's not going to punish them too much. Remember, they don't have 16 tier. This is a really hard fight to take, but absolutely I think that NewbFail'Em really needs to take this to try and win this game. A chokehold fight again. Look at it. It hurts so bad.
So much damage.
You cannot fight in those chokeholds against these compositions, ladies and gentlemen. For future reference, if you ever want to know why, that was exactly it. Somebody was capping that curse while that happened, and that fight still went that in favor of eLevate. They know that they have such a big win here with those 3 kills. They actually are going to be looking for core, it looks like. They're skipping everything else on the map. I think this is going to be risky. I don't know if this is going to be a confirmed win here. The curse is going to be doing a lot of damage. They don't have that much to negate it, I guess, early on. But remember, Fall Stab with Gust is spawning in 5 seconds. I think he might be up. No, he's not going to be fast enough. I lied. I thought he was going to have enough time to disengage it, but maybe 56% here. What's he going to do? He's not looking. Oh, he only got 3 targets away. That's actually going to be it, I believe, here. The full suicide on the core is going to go down here in favor of eLevate. Slowly but surely it does. They did a really good job, if you noticed at the very end there when I said it was risky. They had actually 5 people at all different points around the core there. We had one sitting on the very far side, essentially making like a pentagon around it. That allowed it to where it was very difficult to actually get more than a 3-man gust to negate all their damage on the core. Like normally when you see people on the core, they stack very heavily and they only spread for the AoE damage. So that was a really good call there coming out from eLevate in order to recognize this is the only way we can actually lose this at the very end here. It was smart gameplay coming out from eLevate. I'm surprised that they had beautiful timing the whole game, but then at the very end they absolutely calculated we have core, and I mean even I doubted them, and they were confident. They knew that they had it, and they executed almost perfectly.
Yeah, they absolutely did not hesitate to go for the throat when they had the victory. That was beautifully done.
Absolutely.
Hesitation kills. Don't hesitate. Go for it.
Always go for lethal.
Yeah.
Again, compositionally, I think I very much would have liked to see a Tyrael, because he not only, or a Sanctification from the Tyrael, those chokehold fights that we were talking about that they had no chance of winning, Sanctification's a beautiful answer for those type of things. It is really great in order to try and turn a team fight. Granted, you do have to be very smart with your positioning and timing of that spell, but overall, I don't think the judgment is what lost them the game necessarily. I think a lot of it came down to where they were deciding to take team fights, and how they decided to take team fights along with their tribute rotations were definitely inferior to eLevate. You saw them, eLevate almost always beat them in the rotation, but overall I felt like NewbFail'Em, in my opinion, from last week to this week, I saw large improvement as a team. I felt like you can see that them showing up here every week is it means something, and they're going back over these games, they're learning from them, they're trying to be better, and it's showing. And so definitely a big shout out to NewbFail'Em. Even though they do go down again here to eLevate this time instead of Gale Force Esports, I'm very glad to see that they are deciding to step up the game. And like I said, I actually feel like they won the draft, in my opinion. If they had played a little bit differently, I think it would have been in favor of them.
Yeah, it was a very strong draft and a very interesting draft, and we both really liked the team they put together. You really saw in a couple of those team fights that the Falstad Tyrael heroics did not mesh well together, but they, like you said, they can learn from that. They can watch this and see how to play that differently. So next time, we'll hopefully see something better from them.
Oh, definitely. And I also fear that if that game had gone a little bit farther into the experience lead, and that they weren't able to win off that one chokehold team fight again there at the end there, I would have really liked to see how well they were able to dance with that Mighty Gust mixed with the Holy Ground at 16. Bosses are just absolutely so difficult to win on that map whenever you're facing a composition like that. So
yeah, that's true.
A big shout out to them for the draft. I actually believe their draft last week also impressed me with a rotation they made. I don't remember exactly what it was, but these guys they're figuring it out, you know. So big shout outs to them. As for us, though, we're going to go to a small break while we're waiting for this next match to get started. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Big shout out to Kai Berry for casting with me this week. Zoe is sitting at Heroes Rising, so he's not here this week. Divergent Gaming, Red Rook, and everybody else for tuning in, and just everybody who makes this possible. Thank you very much, and we'll get back to you when the next game is going to start.
See you guys soon.